welcome to another quick tips, although this isn't really going to be that quick at all in the slightest. So in the group, Mina posted something regarding about extending backdrops. So in my wisdom, I turned around and said, yeah, send it across to me, I'll have a little look. And then I got probably the most two horrific backdrop extension images I could ever dream of receiving. So what I'm going to try to do is show you, or Mina, how I would extend these backdrops. Now I've opened the images up into Bridge at the moment, and I'm probably going to totally go against anything I've ever said previously in the past with regards to not saving anything on your desktop, but because these are only temporary and then I'll delete them, it's fine for that. So where do I start? First off, I'll probably go into, no, I'm not going to find it, under optics. I always remove chromatic aberration and use profile correction, even though it probably isn't picking up on these at the moment. Oh, it has, it picked up on her lens and the distortion and so on and so forth, but I always do that. For this image here, I'm going to up the exposure a little bit so I can see, and probably lift the shadows a bit so I can see what I'm doing. This one here, what am I looking for? Oh, where's it gone? My buttons have changed. Don't know, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, right, okay, so let's highlight both of these images and open them in Photoshop. And so this one's opened up first, so I will start with this one. Right, just thinking, what would I have to do first? So anyway, so first thing I always do, Command J, new layer. Just so I've always got the original layer at the back to be able to do it. Now, there are sometimes the other thing that I also do is I put a curves layer on, and especially working with like a black backdrop, I bring it right up. Just so I can see what I'm doing. It's not something that I'll work on and I'll delete that layer afterwards, but sometimes it helps me see in the darker areas some of the bits where I might have missed or something like that. So let's get going with this then. Let's have a look. So if we start over this bit over here, is it going to do it? Let's have a little look, see. Edit, content aware fill. I'm going to go around and fill parts of the image just with some of the stuff that we've got here. I need to get rid of all of that. Don't want any of that. Don't really want that part because it's a different colour, and get rid of that. So let's see if that does anything over there. Yep. Okay. So that's not really done what I want it to do because of the way that it's looking. Let's extend it a little bit. Let's see if I can do it. Right. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stretch this out. Edit. Content aware scale. Undo that little button there, because otherwise when you've got that locked it goes upwards and sideways at the same time. And I'm going to stretch this side out just to give me a little bit more to play with. Obviously I know that it's stretched the girl a bit, but I can sort that out shortly. And again with this side here, let's we can go again. Let me see if I can go again. Content aware scale. Now the only problem that you've got with this is that we're stretching pixels, so I'd try and do it not too much, because we'll probably crop in on the image a bit anyway. So that's that side, and we can probably take it up a bit as well. Edit, content aware scale, undo that and move this up a bit. So as you can see, we're stretching it, stretching it. Right, so that's them sides done. Now obviously we've got this side to deal with. What I would probably do, I mean obviously this is a client image, it depends on what size they're going to want to blow it up to and stuff like that. So what do I want to do? Right, I want to go select and mask, but I don't like the normal select and mask, so I always push shift and click on select and mask, and then that brings up a slightly different one, but it's select and masking on a wrong layer. Transparency. Right, okay. So, I know why, because I was being a bit thick. Cancel. Need to select it. Well, I'm going to select a mask, don't I? So, select the girls. It's mainly this one here that I need to get the arm of. So what I want to do is make sure, wrong way. Make sure I get this and round the back here. I want to make sure I get her fingers in and that I don't chop her fingers off. Although the way I'm going to do this doesn't really matter too much. Let's get that bit of hand in. But this would be, I know that Mina said that she's got a fair few images to do. So this probably wouldn't be the right way for you to do a lot of images, because this could take a while to do so. So I'd go around, get the hand. Now you don't want to go back or anything like that when you're doing select and mask, because it starts learning on what you're trying to select and what you're trying to mask. So you do the plus and the minus, and eventually Photoshop sometimes does get it. Add that on. Oh. Let's minus it off with the fingers. Let's go around here. Let's take this stuff away. Oh. A little bit bigger. Oh. I don't know why it jumps in and jumps out. It's quite annoying. This I wouldn't worry too much about because it's quite dark. Again though, if they're going to have it printed and printed quite big, you want to try and get it quite close. If it's only for social media or something like that, then it might not matter as much, but we'll try and get it as good as we can. But Selector Mask will pick up a lot of this. Lucky enough her hair's not dangling over the edge, because otherwise that could be a bit of a nightmare. So again, Selector Mask, but with Shift button selected. So it's going to do its thing here. So Smart Radius, I'm going to bring this down a bit. Smooth Feather, I only want a feather. 2 pixels might be a bit much, but we'll see how it goes. To be quite truthful, it's not looking too bad. This, why is it not zooming in? Right, fine. Let's go around the edge just to make sure that we're getting the edge included correctly. Does look like it's gone over her skin a little bit, so go the opposite way and undo part of the skin. Yeah, that's doing it. A bit more. Go around the hand. See what it does here, whether it picks it up or whether it doesn't pick it up. It should do, because it's quite contrasty. Should pick it up. So I'm quite happy with that selection, because I'm not too bothered about what happens over here, because basically I'm just going to create another layer to be able to get rid of that backdrop behind them. So new layer with a layer mask. So I'll select that one. So now basically we've got them with a new layer mask, if you want to see that. So that's that there. So what I can do now then is I can, how do I want to do it? I'm going to take this side. I can take this side. So copy, oh no, I'm not even on the right one. Let's go this one here. Copy via layer. Then Control Alt. No, I don't want to do this. Control T. Then I'm gonna flip it horizontally so it goes the other direction. Then I'm gonna bring it over behind this girl here. Then the reason why I've got the layer mask selected, as you can see, we've got a bit of Ujmi Squadry going on behind her heads, and then I can select that layer there, and where you can see the lines there, we need to try and get rid of that. So brush tool, I need to remember what way round. I've got this, so X, so I'm going to have to do something along there just to join that line up, but that's not an issue. I've got a hard brush, that needs to be a soft brush. Soft brush selected. So I can do something with that. So, but then around her arm and stuff like that, you can't really see too much down here. We're not too bad. So, what I actually do want to do is go back on this one here. I'm going to put layer mask on that one as well, because we did stretch this scale out a little bit when we'd done the black brush selected. Oh. Why are you not working, brushes? It did. Oh, still on white. So as you can see, we stretched her out a little bit, so we're just bringing her back. Now she's gone blurry because on the other one I've got a bit of hair on that as well, so we need to take that back off again. So let's just, oh. Yeah, they're not moving. So they're not moving. That one's moving. So she's moving on the end. So let's go back to that. Take them out. Just to make sure. I'm going to need this one on the end. So once I've done that, just not put there. Once I've done that, what I do is I don't merge and flatten, but I create a stamp layer, which is Shift Function Option and Command and E. No, I merged it. Command Z. Right, let's try it again. Right. What I do is I use one hand, my middle finger and my index finger. I put my middle finger on Shift and Function at the same time, and I push my index finger between the Option and Command at the same time, and then with my opposite hand I push the E button. That creates a stamp layer, so everything that you can see below is stamped into one, so you can take them off and there's no difference. So basically it just stamps all them visible layers together, but that allows you that if I got a bit further along and realised that there was something wrong with this layer, I could take that layer out and go and make my fixes and create a new stamp layer again. So now I've got a stamp layer, I can then do things like the patch tool and stuff like that, whereas before, if I didn't have it stamped, then I wouldn't be able to do it, so I'd have to flatten or merge the image. But when you're doing the stamp layer, if you've got a curves layer, lifting the curves, you've got to uncheck that, because otherwise it will stamp it as it sees it as this being brighter. So I'm just going to brighten it back up again, just so I can zoom in and look. I think maybe my eyes are getting old or something like that. So generally speaking, like around this area here, I'd use a bit of my what's it called? What am I using? My patch tool, and try and even out. I'd like to get the colours kind of blending across and get rid of these wrinkles in the bottom on the material here. Don't need them. Then I'd come across, do all my other bits and pieces. I'm only doing this quite rushed just to show you an example of how I would do it. To move my screen across using my tablet, I press the space bar with my left hand, and then I just drag around left and right. Get rid of that as well, just in case. The other thing that I would get rid of, or try to get rid of, is obviously the difference between this and the black. Now obviously it's going to go a bit blurry to start with. Don't know how I'm going to deal with that yet, but I'm sure we will work a way out. I might actually do this with a clone tool. So S for clone tool, pick what I'm going to do, where I'm going to take sample from, and then I'm just going to paint in. And we can paint in roughly around the hair. Lucky enough it's quite dark behind her, and it's not the lighter bit of black where the light has hit the backdrop. So we're just doing that. Bring that down to there. Then I'll go back to the patch tool because I can see a slight colour difference between the two there. I would probably, now let's have a look. So we've got these nasty patches anyway. We want to get rid of that because that does my head in. Right, so you can generally see the thing. Let's crop the size to what we're gonna do it now. Again, at the moment I'm cropping in. Maybe I shouldn't crop in, maybe I should grab it and crop out. I'm just trying to see what other fixes I need to make. Let's get them kind of in the middle. So along this side I'll probably use the patch tool again. Oh, missed a bit. No. And if you do it that way, what tends to happen, if you do it like little bit by little bit, I'll do it so it shows a hand, you'll get these lines show up throughout the image, so you don't really particularly want to do that, because this image is not too bad, but on a lighter scale image it's probably not the best thing. So I'll probably just go in and do a content aware. Hang on, what I'm going to do, Command J, copy that layer again, so I don't completely mess up this layer. Excuse me. Edit content. Oh no. Command D for escape. Content aware film. Just go for that. Let's just get. I've managed to patch in a bit of a hand. Nice. We'll get rid of that in a second in the patch tool. Patch tool, get rid of that bit of hand. Need to lighten it up again. This seems to be a bit darker on my screen, so I'm just gonna patch some of it away. this because that line, I don't like it. So then I'd probably go just with a curves layer, bring that right down to there, Command I to invert it. Brush, it's on black, so I want to select a white brush, and then I'll go with 30% opacity and start painting in around, and then you can blend it a little bit. It's a bit. I can still see it. Let's see if I can bring it down a little bit more. That's better for me. Now just make sure that I haven't called their faces, so I do a /. You can see I did catch her face a little bit here, so X 100%, make it a bit smaller. Painting the back on, and that's not doing it for some reason. Why are you not working? Oh, difference, no. Normal. That's probably why it wasn't working earlier, because I was going on difference. So don't want their hair to be too dark. If anything, you probably want to bring the exposure of a couple of these girls up. So do that. So then that is there. The other thing that I would do with these is probably bring the exposure of this girl up a little bit, just with a curves layer so she's matching. Obviously this girl was the closest to the light. This one also is also very fair, and this one's got quite she's quite brown, so compared to the other girls that are not so tanned, she's also darker as well. But then from this image here, I'd finish off my other edits and then save that. Let's go in and see, and pretty much I would do exactly the same with this. I'd lighten up this side, because again, I'd probably go around and individually either lighten them or darken some of them down to try and get the exposure looking very similar on each of these kids. Again, this one wouldn't be as bad as the last one, but I'd patch that in as well and do the same on the backdrop, but trying to make sure that I avoid these to make sure that the headband still stands out, or may even, once I've done the backdrop and that, go to Camera Raw filter, and then bring the shadows up and try and make these stand out a little bit, because it's black on black, you can't really see them very well. So I think I will leave that there. Mina, I hope that's helped you out a little bit. I do believe that there is an action that you might be able to buy that Emma Jane might give us a bit more information on, with like one of them sorcery sauce actions that she uses on the newborn. It might work on this image to fill in the background or something like that. I'm not too sure. I haven't used that action, but it might be worth, if you have something like that going forward, be worth looking into something like that where you can automate it and just batch run it through all of your images to make it a lot less time consuming for yourself, or get a bigger backdrop. Alright, great stuff. Thanks ever so much for joining. Good night.